G'day, and welcome to the Best of the Rest F1 podcast with Sticks and Fraser. Tune in weekly to hear everything Formula One.
Breaking news at the Best of the Rest podcast.
Oh, look out.
Mate, we've timed this one perfectly, but we've just had breaking news within the last hour.
Yeah, we seem to be a bit unlucky normally with breaking news, but we're on this one, hot off the press.
Christian Horner, effective immediately leaving Red Bull.
Yeah.
That's it.
He's no longer going to be, I don't even think he's CEO, let alone, being involved at all.
I didn't see this one coming. That's wild.
No, I thought if anything like this was going to happen, it was going to be end of last year, start of this year when there was all that crap going on. But
Horner files.
Yeah. But no, it's effective immediate too. Laurent Mekies will be taking over, so stepping up from RB to head Red Bull, the big team.
Where has this come from? Like, Horner's been with Red Bull for 20 years and had great success. Yeah, it's been a bit iffy off the track and on the track the last 12 months, thereabouts. But to just get the sack out of nowhere, there's got to be more going on.
Do you reckon it's like drivers have exit clauses? Maybe Max's performance clause wasn't so much on him. It was like with all the Horner stuff, if the team or Max is getting these kind of results, then he's got to resign. Do you think something like that might have been put in place?
I guess there's a chance. We'll find out in the coming week or so. I'm sure that somebody will dig into the clauses. It makes me wonder whether because there's all that speculation about Max and potentially going to Mercedes, whether Max's party have come to the table and said, if you want me to stay at Red Bull, then Horner must go.
Yeah.
Is there that element? I don't know, but that's definitely sort of come out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, when you said there was breaking news, I thought it was going to be driver related. But yeah, I wasn't expecting Horner either to be one of the ones that's I know Red Bull haven't been doing great recently, but yeah, I don't know if I would have pointed the finger at Horner.
And a lot of the time, like these things, there's a bit of a whisper here. There's a bit of momentum building. You know, this rumour's been around for a week or two, and now everyone's talking about it, and then it comes out, and you go, okay, yeah, there was a bit going on before that, and like it's been confirmed, but just out of the blue is just a big shock.
Yeah, it definitely caught me off guard. It'll be interesting to see what comes out over the next kind of days and weeks. Got a little bit of a break here, so yeah, time to digest and time for the rumour mill to kick off.
Well, I just want to quickly run through the other major departures that Red Bull have had last year and this year, because the core group at Red Bull has dispersed quite rapidly over the last 18 months.
Yep.
Why that is, I don't really know. You hear a lot of conflicting rumours, but there's something not right there at Red Bull. But just to quickly run through a few names. So Adrian Newey, everyone
big one,
knows about that. Jonathan Wheatley, who was their sporting director, who's had a big impact on Sauber just in the 6 or so months that he's been there.
Yeah, and if Sauber's past performances are much to go by, he must have been pretty key at Red Bull as well.
And he's turned their pit stop performances around. Like, they were shocking last year.
The wheel nuts.
The wheel nut drama. And they've been clean with that. He's made a massive impact in the 6 months, so that's a big loss to them. Will Courtney, who was the head of race strategy, the vehicle performance manager, chief designer, principal aerodynamicist, and chief mechanic. So you're talking about now with Horner, like that's 8 high-ranking people.
Yep.
Sort of that core team at Red Bull that have now departed and gone elsewhere. Why? You don't leave a top team. Isn't that the goal?
Yeah, just starts to kind of pose a couple of questions there when the driver was, he's 4-time world champion consecutively and current. the team didn't win last year, but they're still fighting around the mark. And most of these people have left prior to this year's kind of performance anyway. So there's obviously been a bit of unsettle in the camp for a little while, and things are just kind of boiling over. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this kind of pans out.
I did hear recently that the team that were designing this year's Red Bull car have designed the fastest car possible on paper, but they warned, I guess, the higher ups that yes, this car is the fastest on paper, but it's going to be borderline undrivable. Like, you're going to have such a small window to get that performance out of it that we shouldn't go down this path. Yes, we've designed this, but we need to make some tweaks to make it drivable. And they ignored that, and now they're copying the downsides of literally trying to make the fastest car, but then not being able to find two drivers that can actually extract any performance. And even Max, who's arguably the best driver in the world at the moment, he can't get the performance out of it. So has that sort of soured the whole team there at Red Bull, and maybe this attitude's been in play for the last few years, and people are going like, let's get off this ship before it sinks, because we're literally heading in one direction and it's not going to end well.
No, and it seemed like they were in a bit of trouble for a little while, and with all the, Horner and Jos Verstappen and all that going on earlier. I'm not sure if people kind of did start to see a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel and jump ship, or if things are kind of progressed a bit more recently. But it just seems like a massive thing. Like, Horner's been there, say 20 years, essentially, when they first started, and ran them through the whole time, been very successful, and then just to what seems like be walking away completely. Because at this stage, like, not team principal, not CEO, it doesn't seem like he's involved in any part at all. There's just all been about thanking him and remembering his contributions. It's like it's a goodbye. So it's I don't know what's going on there, but I'm sure things will come out soon.
Another speculative take I've just thought of. I wonder if Christian Horner was, part of this decision. Maybe he wants out. Maybe he knows something about Max. Maybe Max is going to move on, and Horner knows that without Max, then we're going to be struggling for a while. Wonder if there's that element. Yeah,
well, I guess there could be something like that too, like kind of like a Newey thing, where they've got to leave, resign, go on their gardening leave before they can have any effect on a new team. What? Why are you laughing at gardening leave? Not actually gardening.
It's just a laugh.
That's just what they call it.
Just a funny thought, thinking of Newey got to go and tend to the gardens before I can...
Got to trim the roses.
Right, I just want to run through a few stats of what Horner actually achieved at Red Bull in his 20-year stint, because it was very impressive over that period. And who knows, we may not see him on the grid again. So he started in 2005, finished in 2025, obviously. 6 Constructors' Championships in that time and 7 Drivers' Championships, which is pretty crazy.
That's pretty crazy.
120 race wins.
Yeah.
That's
up there. That's
crazy.
But how many of those as well have been Verstappen the last couple of years, where he's just dominated?
Yeah.
Like, I know Vettel got the 4 consecutive as well, didn't he? But to actually, like, the amount that Verstappen was winning by, especially 23, and winning essentially every race. Like,
that's a good chunk.
Yeah.
Over 250 podiums. I think it was 104 pole positions and 90 plus fastest laps. So when you look at that, that's a good chunk of high quality results, considering where Red Bull were when he stepped into that team, and then Mercedes' dominance over that period as well. They had a good 5, 6, 7 years where they were more or less untouchable or right there at the pinnacle.
Yep.
So it's pretty impressive. Who knows? We may see him back on the grid again, but only time will tell.
Yeah, I think that so it must have been 2013 that Vettel won. So 2014 through to say 2020, even 21. That's when Hamilton was really kicking off. So Mercedes were just, almost untouchable for a period there. And yeah, Horner's he's been there since essentially day one. Like, I think Red Bull actually might have started, like he started from the start. I don't think there was like a layover. I think he was the main guy. So yeah, it'd be different, the face of Red Bull, but we've got our Red Bull jumpers on.
Support the man
in remembrance of Horner's participation.
I guess it sort of sucks because he wasn't afraid to stir up a little bit of banter. So you had a little bit of team principal banter going on.
Yeah, well, him and Toto and
Zach
Brown. Like
a bit of spice to it, another element. But I'm sure if he wants to, he'll end up back on the grid somewhere along the line. He's too valuable to sit on the sidelines if he's got a desire to compete again, but only time will tell. We'll have to see what actually happens with that moving forward.
Yeah, well, he's still quite young, so I reckon he's still got some time there ahead of him, and yeah, I can't see this being Horner done.
Well, he was the youngest team principal when he stepped into the role. He was only 31, which is wild to think.
Was he really?
That's crazy.
Was he CEO right at the start as well, or did he go principal for a bit and then CEO?
I don't know. I'd assume that was principal and then stepped into the CEO role, but not sure.
So he's only 51 years old. He'll be 52 in November. So, yeah, still quite young. I think a lot of them, are only just starting to kind of hit their straps as kind of team principals at around this age, and he's already been doing it for 20 years. So, crazy.
Stay tuned. We'll see what happens. I guess that's all we've really got to add for the Horner drama, the Horner sacking as of right now.
Well, I guess what's your thoughts on Laurent Mekies stepping up? Seems like he's been doing a good job with RB, Hajar and Sonoda at the start and a little bit with Lawson. He's obviously struggling to find his feet a bit after, that hit to his confidence from Red Bull. But Laurent Mekies as a team principal seems to be doing quite well.
He does at the sister team, but, man, there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. Red Bull aren't in a good place. That car's not fantastic. There's a lot of eyes in that second seat. Rumours around Max, like that's a hot seat to be jumping into.
Yeah, or being a principal of Verstappen is its own beast in itself.
I feel for him. I think he's been thrown into the hot seat big time. There's going to be a lot more negative there than positive for him, probably in the short term, but it depends how long they stick with him and whether he can turn the corner or what they can dish up next year. But he may not even be their long-term choice. Who knows? Yeah,
and it might not have much to do with his role, but have you noticed that they've gotten Laurent Mekies on a lot on the pit wall, like on race weekends? So it'd be interesting to see if that was like a personal thing, like with Lauren, or if that was more team-based. So when he steps up to Red Bull, Red Bull going to go, no, we don't want you, that much in media or whatever you want to call it, broadcast. Or is it, Lauren and his personality and who he is and the feedback that he gives is quite valuable, and that will continue, and we might see a little bit more of an insight to Red Bull.
I mean, it'd be good to see, but in recent time, you don't really hear a whole lot from Horner, really. It's been sort of very quiet. No. It felt like when they were going well, they were like he was constantly being interviewed after races and, weekend warm-ups and that sort of thing. But I can't say I've seen his face in a good while.
No, well, he's, been very quiet. I haven't seen or heard much of him for a while either. Only kind of shushing a few rumours with Verstappen and whatnot, or praising or whatever needs to be done, but yeah, not his normal, frequent appearances in the media.
A yes or no answer for you from this question, please.
Yep.
Is this the start or maybe the confirmation that Red Bull are in a rebuilding phase, if you will?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think whether they want to accept it or not, now with Horner leaving, whether it was Red Bull's decision or his, they have already ticked over to being in a rebuild phase now. We've got all the other people that you just listed before, the other 8 or however many it was, and Horner being the face of Red Bull Formula One racing team to then leave. Yeah, it's a rebuild. It has to be. Like, yeah, whether they're setting it up as, all right, we're going to do a rebuild, let's get Lauren in, let's do this, let's do that, or reactive, it doesn't matter. I'd say it's officially now a rebuild, in my opinion.
How low do Red Bull drop? Or realistically, does this regulation change almost come at the perfect time where they may be able to bounce back reasonably quickly? Not to be the best in the comp again, but they may not slide for a while and wait for that regulation change to have that hard reset. What do you think? How do you think that goes?
Well, like we kind of mentioned on one of our previous episodes, we looked at some stats of Red Bull and what their second driver was achieving. So if you take Max Verstappen away, Red Bull were like 8th or 9th in the Constructors' Championship. I'm pretty sure it was 9th. So if Verstappen doesn't stay, whether it's to do with Horner or not, then Red Bull could be in a lot of trouble. I know it all depends on, like you say, what's happening with this new regs and what design path they've gone down and if they've nailed the new engine componentry to it. But yeah, just the situation that they're kind of in, the only thing that they're hanging on to at the moment is Verstappen. So if he was to leave, yeah, you probably see Red Bull drop 4 places in the Constructors.
He's really the keystone, isn't he? If he goes, they're in big strife.
Oh, yeah.
Fun fact for you.
Yep.
So in the last 4 Grand Prix, Sauber have outscored Red Bull.
Far out.
Like both drivers. I think it was something like 32 to 29 points scored or something. But how wild is that over it? Like going into this season, you would never think that Sauber could even outscore Red Bull for one weekend. Like you go, that's not going to happen. Like Sauber are barely going to score any points, and Red Bull, they're Red Bull.
Yeah.
But over a four race period, maybe that was the catalyst to this move.
Yeah, well, bit of a spoiler alert, I guess. Hulkenberg at the Silverstone Grand Prix, getting his first podium position and finishing 3rd. He achieved more points in that race than what Sauber did the whole of last year.
That's wild, isn't it?
So
crazy. Yeah,
big ups for Sauber. So they are doing quite well, but in the same respect, yeah, Verstappen and Tsunoda and whoever else is in the second seat has definitely been struggling. So yeah, Verstappen kind of putting magical drives together is the only thing they're kind of hanging on to.
It's wild. Right, well, we'll just have to stay tuned and see where this goes over the coming weeks and what news actually comes out, what we learn about this story as a whole. But as of right now, Christian Horner is no more.
No, that's it. No more for Horner and promotion, if you call it that, for Lauren Meckies. I think it's still a promotion for that kind of thing. I think the driver's seat is probably a demotion these days. But
well, you'd hope he gets more money. You'd want more money to go and take over that team.
Oh, you'd think so, yeah.
A lot of pressure. Right, time to box.
Righto, let's retire today's episode. If you've liked it, hit hit like, share, follow, subscribe. Leave us a 5-star review, a couple of comments. We'd love to hear it. Even some negative feedback. We'll take her on the chin. But thanks, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Catch ya.
Bye.
Oh, look at this. This is not a dog. This is a piece of shit.
Wave his magic driving skills.
Yeah.